Making good decisions based on your current financial situation might just be the most important thing that you'll have to deal with when playing poker. Since there is an element of luck in poker, you're often going to be left at the mercy of the deck that will ultimately decide your fate. It's for that reason that you should have strict rules for yourself as far as how much money you're willing to risk and what limits to play. For example, let's say that you have $1,000 bankroll that you'd like to use as your poker bankroll. What limit should you play? Well, there are a few questions you'll need to ask yourself first. Am I skilled enough to beat these players? Generally speaking, the higher the limits, the more skilled the players. So, if you are going to a new game, it would probably make sense to start at the bottom in the lowest limit game available. How important is the money to me? Is this your life savings and you can't afford to lose it? Well, then frankly, if that's the case, you shouldn't be playing poker at all with it. No matter how big your bankroll is, Lady Luck can take it all away from you, but there are things you can do to protect yourself from losing it all. In most of the poker books you read, the authors tell you that you should have about 300 big bets as an adequate bankroll. This is a pretty safe bankroll, and if you are, in fact, a winning player that wins one big bet an hour, there's approximately a 3% chance of going broke if you play the appropriate limit. So, with that said, if you did have $1,000 bankroll, the appropriate limits for you to play would be right between $1, $2, and $2, $4. If you wanted to be on the safe side, $1 and $2 would give you a bankroll of 500 big bets, while if you wanted to be more of a risk taker, then 2-4 leaves you with 250 big bets. Now, if you felt like your level of skill was good enough to win at the $2 and $4 game, my suggestion would be to take a shot at the 2-4 game. When I say take a shot, it's important to understand that I don't mean risking the whole 1,000 at 2 and 4 limits. Instead, you could risk maybe $400 in that game, but if you were to lose it all, you'll have to go back to the smaller game with your remaining $600. That $600 would give you a plentiful bankroll at the $1 and $2 game of 300 big bets. Virtually every top pro that's made it to the biggest game in the world at the Bellagio in Las Vegas has gotten their start by taking shots or shortcuts. Again, the key to surviving, though, is having the discipline to swallow your ego, take your lumps, and then move down to limits when things don't work out at the higher limit game. Some of the most talented poker players in the world are currently broke and will habitually go broke time and time again. The reason for that is always due to poor bankroll management. To play in the biggest cash game in the world, a 4,000, 8,000 mixed game with the world's best, you'd need at least a bankroll of probably $2.4 million even to give yourself a chance. Now, you could be the best poker player in the world, but if you sat down in that game with, say, $500,000, you'll end up broke a high percentage of the time. It's a scary thought, but it's totally accurate. So, if you've learned anything from this poker tip, it should be that it's important to take your time, play it safe for the most part, and don't be in a rush to play higher and higher limits. Living the life of a professional poker player can be stressful enough all by itself. The last thing you want to do is compound that problem by continually adding financial pressure to the mix.